I wanted to make an effort to come and talk to you, really just to let you guys know how proud I am of you. I grew up pretty much the way that you did. North Nashville is not at all different from North St. Louis. Growing up poor in Nashville in the 60s is not at all different from growing up poor and hard in St. Louis in the 90s or in the 2000s. Even the 5 years that I lived in New York City, all I knew was the streets and violence, and essentially I kind of flunked out of school because in the 9th grade I just didn't even go to school. I was essentially in the streets. My grandmother, who got sick of hearing how my life was going, who had learned of a gang fight where I had been not seriously injured, but could have been, ordered my mother to send me, as you should say, back down south. And in so doing, my grandmother essentially saved my life. By the time they found out back in Nashville that I was supposed to repeat the 9th grade for having flunked it, being under grandmother's leadership, I had the kind of grades where they felt that sending me back would be ridiculous, and they let me keep going. So I say all that just to let you guys know that I don't come to this program from the point of view of, some person who, paid money to learn it and oh, it's great for me and, I think everybody else should do it. Because, let's face it, people like me at this stage in my life, I don't have anywhere near the stressors that you guys have to face. So, I can tell you all day long what it's done for me. It's like, so what? Unless I've been in your shoes and living your life, then that's really why we are all here. Because we know and we understand, either from personal experience or the clients we've had, or seeing it as a judge, or even maybe just studying it, academically. We know that the stress that people have to deal with every day on the streets, not everybody can handle it. We know that for some people, just dealing with it all, man, getting drunk makes life a little bit easier. We know that for some people, just dealing with all, a hit of crack just makes life a little bit easier. And we know that the difficulties that are faced by all of you and everyone like you across the country in trying to avoid reoffending. I know that every last one of you guys in your heart, you don't ever want to be in front of a black robe like the one Judge Van Amberg is wearing ever again in your life. I know you don't want it. And I know you want something that will help you make sure that doesn't happen. That you're not in that group of the 50% of people who come into the system, who go on probation, who mess up, and they're back behind bars again. And as tough as the system may sound, as different from you as some of us may appear to be, I want you to know we don't want that. There isn't a judge in the state of Missouri who wants to see any one of you guys come back. Some of us have different views of how that should occur. And you all know that most people have this sort of get tough kind of thing. They look at you guys and say, we'll just lock them up and that'll solve the problem. And there's lots of folks out there who think that way, who don't see any value at all in anything that could be called rehabilitation. I remember the first time one of my judges' meetings, when the drug court issue came up. I had been away at a conference and talked to a couple of the judges, so we raised at a court en banc meeting. You would have thought I talked about building a prison on Mars. I mean, really, it was that silly of an idea when you go back as far as 1994. But after a while, the idea caught on. And this is an idea, quite frankly, that I can't tell you how silly I look to a lot of my colleagues in doing this. How many people across the state said, Dave, you gotta be crazy. Wash your hands of this. You're not gonna be retained. People are gonna file complaints on you. The press will ridicule you. I would go into, we had this little thing called Judicial College. I remember walking into a room much like this, and it was about, 40 or 50 of other judges getting ready to take the class. And one of the judges, who I consider a friend, has sort of led a response to me as I walked in. All these judges started going, Well, good-natured humor. But that sort of lets you know sometimes how, unfortunately, even though this country is full of so many well-meaning people, how sometimes it's hard for people to just think beyond the box. You know, how hard it is for people to really get serious about the possibility that people who engage in a criminal activity, that's not like a death sentence. That doesn't mean they'll never change. That doesn't mean there's nothing that can be done for them. Okay, yeah, fine. Sometimes people do stuff where they gotta be punished. Okay, fine. But you know, punishment doesn't last forever. And people have to be ready for the point in time that they're not under the supervision of the state, or they're not behind bars. People have to be helped to be made ready so they can live a life that they never come back into the system again. It's hard for people to understand, but everybody at this table, praise God for every last one of them, understand that. And that's why we're all here, and that's why I want to take some time to come and talk to you. It takes a lot to get yourself involved in something that your family doesn't necessarily understand, that your friends don't understand. Your ministers might look at, you know, what you're doing, practicing this old heathen thing, you know, that you feel sometimes so uncomfortable talking to people about that you just kind of keep it to yourself. You know, somebody, oh, what you doing? I was just thinking. Well, why are you going off to the room by yourself? Oh, I just need to be alone by myself to think. Sometimes it's hard to even just say, I need to go meditate. Because then you get involved in all these discussions about why. But you guys understand why. And thank God for you. Because you guys, I know from what we've seen, I know I'm not going to see you guys again, except, you know, we might walk down the street and, you know, make fun of Farouk's accent together, something like that, you know. But that's about it. I know I won't see you again officially. And that's great. That's great. Because your families are going to be better off, you know, your friends, the women in your life, and you yourself are just going to feel so much better because you're going to start dealing with it. You're going to start dealing with it. Instead of it dealing you, you're going to deal it. And that's what it's about. That's what we want to give you guys, the ability to help you deal with it. So, man, keep on keeping on, man. Brothers and sisters, just keep on keeping on, you know. May seem bleak from time to time. The world can be a pretty cold, cruel place. But I have seen so many guys go through this program and do so much with their lives as the years roll by after they left. I have every faith, every belief, every personal confirmation that each and every last one of you guys have turned your life around, have started a new life, and you're going to go on, you're just going to be happier than you ever thought you could be. Farouk, you're the man. You know, you have sacrificed your life for this. This man has been working on this issue his entire professional life. You don't do that unless you've seen the results. You don't do that unless your heart is touched by the men and women who turn around. You don't do that until you see the smiling faces of children who talk about how happy they are, that daddy doesn't hit anymore. You know, I got that one once, but daddy doesn't hit anymore. Daddy controls his anger. And this man, God bless him. And then he finds this wonderful, wonderful partner with a mindset that's exactly the same thing. And they have devoted their lives to this. And you talk about leading a life of relevance. It doesn't get any more relevant than the ankle serious and what's going to happen with you guys because of their work. Because now you guys are going to start leading your lives with even more relevance. Being better fathers, husbands, boyfriends, friends, workers, voters, whatever you decide to do with your life, you're all going to start doing it better. So I just want to leave you with, you know, lead a life of relevance. Your life counts. Your life matters. Every person that you deal with is affected by you. Make it a positive and strong effect. You'll be happy, I guarantee you. God bless you all, and Farouk, thank you for arranging the schedule. I could drop by for a minute, just encourage these fine men and women, and congratulate them on what they've done. Congratulations, guys.